Hi there, seventh graders. So the last few weeks have gone pretty fast, especially with us all being virtual for about a week and a half worth of school days, and then coming back, and we still have some of you that are still quarantined, and some of you that have just gotten lost and behind. So we're going to focus on the next few days reviewing what we have learned, okay? So with our algebraic expressions, we have quite a few different ones up here on the board currently. These are type of expressions that you should know how to do, okay? If not, today's a great day for you because we're going to review how we would evaluate, compute, simplify, all that we have been doing. We're going to reteach and make sure that those concepts have really sunk in because this is a really important unit. And all of your teachers, all of us seventh grade math teachers, want to make sure that you are doing or being able to do a great job come next year and the years after. Okay. So a quick review. Remember, we have already learned how to add and subtract, multiply, and divide rational numbers. Rational numbers are your integers, which are positive and negative whole numbers, your decimals, your fractions, positive and negative for both of those. All right, so that's where we have already done, that was from quarter one. Okay, now if you're given a value for a variable, they normally want you to evaluate what is the value of this expression when e is 5. Okay, and you need to know how to do that because when you get into 8th, ninth grade, you're going to need to do more complex equations. We're going to get up to 2-step equations this year, but after that, you're going to get even harder and harder equations. So a quick review, we did some guided notes in our notebooks, right? So if you have that, open it back up just to review and make sure you have it. Okay, I'm not going to fill all of this out, but it's a quick and easy way to remember, especially important terms. There's some of you that are still asking, what's with the x in this problem? Does that mean to multiply? Well, remember variables. Those are the letters that represent a number value. Okay, most of the time we don't know what the value is unless they tell us what it is. Most common variables are x, y, so it can be z, it can be t, it can be s, it can be a, b, whatever letter. All right. Algebraic expressions consist of one or more variables along with one or more arithmetic operations. And then evaluate, that means to find the final answer or value of the expression. To compute, right? Put in the value of that variable that you're given and see what it equals. Okay, and then we had some that we had to do for this. I want to skip down to what we're doing today. Okay, so today we have some that are word problems. Okay, there's 6 total word problems. I'm going to do a couple with you, and then I highly suggest you go and try to do a couple more on your own. Okay, so let's look at the first one. Jason earns $20 per game as a referee in a youth soccer games. Okay, write an expression to find how much money Jason will earn for refereeing any number of games. Maybe he does more games one year than another year or different season. We're going to let n represent the number of games that Jason has refereed. Now, how much will he earn for refereeing 6 games? We can't just go straight and solve it. He asked for us to find an expression. We have to come up with one. Okay, keywords is that per. That per means to multiply. Okay, and then they told us to use n. Right? If they don't tell you what to use for the variable, you can find a variable that you feel will represent what we're trying to find. Right? So that means our expression is 20n. That means to take 20 times however many games he has refereed. Okay? Well, they tell us how many has he refereed. So I'm going to take my 20 times 6. Now remember, you could also put 20 times 6. That means the same thing. Okay? So if you got paid $20 per game, that means you made a total of $120 is how much Jason made. Okay. Now let's look at the next one, which talks about profits. Okay. Profit, the expression C minus E, where C stands for the money collected, okay, and E stands for the expenses. So they're telling you why these variables are what they are. So when you go to plug in your information, you know where it actually goes. Okay? The $500 was the collected and the expenses were $150. Find the profit for the concession. They gave us the expression, so we don't need to create one on our own. We just need to plug in the numbers they gave us where they belong. Okay, so $500 was what was collected at the basketball game, but they had to pay $150 for expenses. So what is our profit? Well, you would subtract and you get $350 profit. Okay, you need to fill this in the video. You can pause it all you want. All right, I'm going to challenge you to do number 3 on your own. Okay, I'm going to put up what I got, and then you can check your answer once you need to. So pause this now. Do number 3 on your own to check if make sure you're understanding, because the remaining 3 you're going to have to do on your own. Okay, so this is how I set up my expression, and then you can means that she got $290 after babysitting for a year with what she already had in her savings accounts of the $230. So she earned $60 for babysitting, but she already had some money into her savings account. Okay, so finish up the remaining 3. And then I'm going to flip over to the next page and do some of those with you, and then the remaining will be your homework. All right. Evaluate each expression if W equals 2, X equals 3, Y equals 5, and Z equals 6. Right? For each expression, we have different variables that have different values. Okay, so this says 2 times, it's not 22. Not that. You have to make it multiply. Okay, that's what this means is 2 times W. So then what is 2 times 2? Well, it is 4. That's my final answer. Okay. What about 10? This is y squared. So that means to take y times y. That's what the square means. Okay. And if y is 5, so 5 squared, that really means to do 5 times 5, which then is 25. Okay. Most of these are pretty easy. They're all positive. Okay, so there's no extra super tricky thing to go on. Okay, so I'm pretty confident that you guys could probably do the remaining on your own. Okay, I got 27 for number 11. And now let's look at some that are down below. Okay, this time we do have a couple negative numbers. So we're going to have to make sure we are careful with those negative numbers. Okay, so the first one says m plus n. So m is this -3 here. That's where I'm getting that number 4. And I'm adding my 7. Okay, well now those where our integer rules come into play. Remember that little fancy song, same signs add and keep, different signs subtract, keep the sign of the higher value, then you'll be exact. It's a catchy tune to help you remember what we're doing. If you don't like the song, you can always use a number line to model this. Okay, if I'm at -3 on the number line and I take 7 hops to the right, I'm going to end up at a +4. Okay. Let's look at another one. Let's look at 20. I really would like to do 20 with you. Okay. This means 6 times, and then we have -3 is my m, and I am squaring it. Now, I purposely put this in parentheses because there is a difference between a -3 squared and a -3 in parentheses squares. The first one means it's a negative of 3 times 3. Well, that would give me a -9. Whereas if I have the parentheses, it means a -3 times a -3. It gives me a +9. So you see where you could accidentally make an error and get the wrong answer. Okay? So this way, now I know I am taking 6 times +9, which then gives me 54. Okay? That was just one of those things to watch out for when you have the squaring. Okay? You want to make sure you're remembering if you're working with negatives and whatnot. Okay? Let's see, there was another one I wanted to make sure that we go over that was a little bit different. All right, let's go to 21. Well, I think that was supposed to be 27. 27. Let's go there. All right, it says n plus 2 squared. So it's kind of like order of operations. Enough on my paper, n equals 7. So this means I need to take 7 plus 2, and whatever that sum is, I square it, then divide by 3. Okay, so then that means I'm really taking 9 squared and dividing it by 3, which then is 81 divided by 3. And if you need to, do your long division. Okay, 3 goes into 8 twice, because 3 times 2 is 6. The 2 left over, then I bring my 1 down. 3 goes into 21 7 times. Okay, you need to do your division. That's perfectly fine. So then we know that this actually equals 27 for our final answer. So since I have so much work going on, I always am circling my answers. Okay, so then when your teachers go to look for your answers, they can tell what was your final one. Okay, let's do 14 as well. I know I'm jumping around, but there were certain ones I wanted to make sure I hit so that you really did understand how you're supposed to do these. Okay, so 12 minus 3 times, this is 3 times m, not 3 and you add an m at the end of the value, which is a -3. Okay, if I was to add my opposite, this is a -3. Remember when we multiply a negative and a negative, negative, make it positive. So this is a +9. That means my answer is 21. Okay. Watch your signs, double check your work, and make sure that your answers are easy to tell where they're at. Okay, if you have any questions, make sure you reach out to your teachers and always, always, always show your work, because if you make just a small mistake, at least we can see where your mistake was and not that you're just putting some random guessing numbers down. Okay? All right, you guys have a great day. And if you have any missing assignments, get them turned in because progress report time's coming.